from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Saturday, January 4th. So we have the moon in Pisces here all day, which of course is kind of softening the harsh edges of some of the power struggles, some of the tension, some of the conflict that definitely popped off in the cosmos as of late. But of course, it also puts us in a situation where we're hypersensitive. We are kind of jacking up our spidey senses, if you will, and we're picking up on energies that are very new, very foreign to us. And because of that, we could find moments where we're going to be overwhelmed with trying to figure out what it is that belongs to us and what belongs to other people. However, we are kind of, again, sifting through the layers of energy, the layers of thoughts, the layers of emotions in order to process them from a higher observer type of mentality and a deeper emotional standpoint as well. And because the moon in Pisces is trying to wrap up a emotional cycle, we are kind of preparing for this push, this jolt into a new path, into a new direction. But of course, it's not happening in our external realm. It's all inner realm shifting. The moon in Pisces definitely helping us out with all of that. Now, there are 11 different aspects taking place here today. 7 of them are going to be involving the moon. And the beautiful thing is that we have some powerful aspects pushing us in a positive direction. Of course, if you've been listening to me, if you've been tuning in, you would know that the last couple of weeks have been very tension-filled in the cosmos, specifically with Mars and Pluto, again, kind of creating that oppositional tension, that pull, that power struggle, if you will. We are in Capricorn season. It is very low and slow. Mr. Saturn, who rules over this Capricorn season, of course, giving us some tough love life lessons. It has been a slower pace than many of us would prefer. We can thank Mars being retrograde for that. However, today we are going to gain a little bit of momentum in the right path and direction, especially where our inner realm is concerned. Wasting no time, we are coming into the day with Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money. She's fresh in this Pisces energy. She's making a very powerful interaction with Pluto, the great transformer, who of course is in Aquarius energy. This is going to A, intensify our emotions, our inner realm, our intuition. B, help us to change and transform our emotional state to be empowered, to have control over our thoughts, over our emotions, so that we can eventually have power and control over the actions in which we're taking. And C, we're actually coming to a very intensified, I'm going to call it breakthrough point with what it is that we want, what we need, what we desire in our day-to-day lives, especially where routines, relationships, and money matters are concerned. We're going to receive some hidden information, if you will, some aha moments from our unconscious selves that, of course, is going to put us in a totally different mood and attitude to see what we want, what we need, what we desire, what we have to do, what we have to pursue. We do have Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, even our anger. He's currently retrograde in Leo energy, the heart and soul of the zodiac. And of course, he is sat on the bench. He has to watch the game being played. He has to observe. He has to analyze. He has to really get in an alignment with his heart and soul, because we're going through a major change in our heart space, in our motivations, in our fuel, in our passions, in our desires. And because of that, again, there's a lot more going on in our inner realm than there is in our external realm. We have Mars trining, which is a beautiful interaction, with the North Node in Aries energy. And that North Node is trying to get us on the right path, trying to get us in alignment with a new mission, with a new purpose. And this particular interaction, because it is fire on fire, thus giving us the trine, we love fire energy because it helps to A, burn away from the heavier thoughts and emotions, the junk and the gunk that, again, we're kind of tired at this point of carrying. B, it kind of helps to reignite a new spark, fire, and flame within us in order to get motivated, hell-bent, damn well determined to see a new path, a new direction, new goals actually form, and giving us that, let's call it C, opportunity to cultivate new fire within us, new passion within us, a new fuel within us as well. And so this is going to definitely put us in a situation where we're seeing new opportunities be presented to us, especially to help us slow and steady make some arrangements, some improvements, some adjustments, first in our inner realm, secondary in our exterior realm, to actually help align us to achieve these new dreams, visions, goals, desires. This is a beautiful problem-solving energy, a creative solution energy, and really just kind of getting our soul and our spirit up into a new mood and attitude to actually see this particular transition through. We have the moon in Pisces energy making a very positive interaction with Uranus, the great awakener, who is retrograde in Taurus energy. Again, trying to highlight for us where it is that in our physical realms, we have kind of outgrown people, places, and things that, again, we should have let go of, we should have released, we should be putting behind us, we should be detaching from, but for some reason, we're holding on to these people, places, and things for dear life, like a security blanket. And so again, the moon in Pisces is trying to emotionally, intuitively download us with a different mood and attitude and perspective to see where it is that endings and closures have to take place. The Uranian energy giving us a jolt, a bolt of lightning, if you will, to open up our minds to actually see from a different perspective why it is that we're resisting making some of these changes, why we're resisting letting certain people, places, and things go, why it is that we are just holding on. And once we realize it, once we can kind of uncover the fears, the doubts, the insecurities that we have about releasing and letting some of these aspects go, then we can empower ourselves, flipping the script and reframing our emotional disposition to actually come to a different term of acceptance, term of peace, if you will, contentment within ourselves, if you will, in order to start building towards this releasing point. The moon is then going to get into the boxing ring, square off with Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings. He's currently retrograde. So again, looking back, reflecting, reanalyzing, revisiting, revising, and in Gemini energy, again, it's different options, different information, wisdom, and knowledge that we've accumulated that we may not be putting into practice, old conversations that we're seeing in a new light, old circumstances and situations that we need to be reframing in our mind space. Again, this is a square, so this is going to highlight tension and conflict because we're going through a growing pain. Usually, Jupiter would bring some optimism and positivity, but this is a square, so we're kind of low on those particular features. And because the moon in Pisces, when kind of aspected in not such a nice way, we get overwhelmed very quickly, especially with trying to decide, trying to choose, because right now, many of us are kind of faced with two very different options, different opportunities, different paths, different directions. Again, the division of Gemini energy not making things any clearer. And of course, we are in a situation because of this Pisces energy that when we get overwhelmed, we tend to shut down. We tend to kind of, disassociate from our realm and reality altogether. And we want to live in la la land because, again, that feels a lot better than some of the harsh truths, harsh realities, pressurized situations that we're currently facing in our exterior realm. Nonetheless, this is going to magnify and illuminate where it is that we're kind of sitting in confusion and maybe even a certain aspect of delusion, in realizing where it is that, again, we are coming to a choice point. We do have to essentially shit or get off the pot at some point in time. We do have to get our shit together. We do have to get organized. But at this particular juncture, it just feels like too much. We have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves in Sagittarius energy now, in a brand new foreign territory, seeing as we just cleared the post-retrograde shadow period. Mercury in the Sagittarius energy is going to be making a very positive interaction with Mars, the god of war, who is retrograde in this Leo energy. This is fire on fire action as well. And again, this is really putting us in a situation to come up with some clever solutions. come up with a plan, come up with a strategy, kind of motivating us and pushing us into a new mood, a new attitude, a new perspective, a new narrative on what it is that we actually want to build and create. This is a beautiful interaction. This is definitely going to lift us up out of the darker funk in which we've been sitting in and help us kind of focus on what needs to be done, what we need to do, what we need to pursue. The moon is then going to sextile, which is a beautiful interaction, with the sun. The sun, of course, in Capricorn energy, the moon in Pisces energy. We love Pisces and Capricorn energy working together because whatever it is that we can dream up in the Pisces energy, whatever it is that we can imagine, whatever it is that we can fantasize about, whatever it is that we get downloaded with, especially intuitively speaking, we're able to actually get organized. We're able to rationally put together a plan, a strategy on how we're going to bring this vision to life. That's what the Capricorn energy is for. So the moon and the sun coming together, there's going to be an aha moment. There's going to be a new awareness, if you will, of what we want, what we need, what we desire. It's going to be very mystical, very dreamy, very soul-led. And again, the sun shining a bright light in this Capricorn energy is like, okay, what kind of foundation and structure do I need to materialize and build in my physical realm in order to house the goal, the vision, the dream that, again, my higher self wants me to pursue? This is going to be a beautiful interaction, giving us a little bit more clarity and a little bit more organization, if you will, between our thoughts and our emotions. We do have the moon in Pisces energy coming up to, bumping into, teaming up with, conjuncting Saturn. Saturn is the lord of karma, ruling over roles, responsibilities, system, foundation, structures. And of course, he's in this Pisces energy. He's trying to wrap up a 30-year cycle. He's trying to dissolve the old foundation structures that we have built in our realm due to the old version of selves, wants, needs, and desires that this new version of self has no resonance with. Saturn is also trying to dissolve the belief system that, again, kind of pushed us to create the realm and reality that at this particular juncture, we're trying to override. We're trying to restructure. We're trying to reframe. So a conjunction is just as much of an ending as it is a beginning. And the ending, because we're talking about Pisces energy, is karma. We're wrapping up some karmic chapters. We're wrapping up some old dreams, some old visuals, some old, let's call them belief systems. And the new chapter is definitely getting organized in our vision, in the steps needed in order to close the door on the past and start opening up the door to the future, where we get to pour all of our time, energy, and effort into building something new. Again, we're still in closure series. We're still in finality series. We're in a chapter of endings. So again, there's still some loose ends that we need to wrap up before we can solely pour all of our energy into building the new. The moon in Pisces is then going to make a very awkward interaction with Mars, the god of war, who of course is retrograde in this Leo energy. So this is essentially when we start losing steam, if you will, when we start kind of questioning a lot of the visuals, a lot of the downloads, a lot of the intuitive insight, a lot of the thoughts, a lot of the emotions, if you will. This is when we start kind of tapping into the ants in our pants, the restlessness, if you will, the frustration, if you will, in order for us to realize what we actually care about, what we actually value. You're not going to get upset over something that doesn't matter. You're not going to get frustrated by something that doesn't matter. So again, we have every opportunity with some of these tougher type of energies to learn a lot more about us, especially when the not so nice thoughts and feelings really illuminate for us what it is that we actually value. We have the moon semi-squaring, creating a little bit of tension and conflict with Pluto, the great transformer in Aquarius energy. So again, our emotions are going to intensify in all of the wrong ways. This is the manifestation of Pisces energy where, again, we could slip into the victimhood mentality where we are losing hope, faith, wishes, dreams, where we're losing that intuitive guidance. We feel like we are kind of being pulled down a dark path, especially where our emotions and our headspace is concerned. Now, this is what Pluto does. He is the great transformer through the death and destruction process in order for a rebirth and a resurrection process to take place. He does kind of take us down the old memory road, if you will, the darker thoughts, the darker feelings, in order for us to realize our fears, our doubts, our insecurities about what we want to build, what we want to create, what we want to bring to life. We have every opportunity to realize where it is that the ego programming, harboring those fears, doubts, and insecurities, holding on to self-sabotage. Why? Well, because self-sabotage is a very clever function that us human beings like to tap into to give ourselves a false sense of control. If you think that everything's going to fall apart and fall to shit, if you are essentially getting in your own damn way and you know that things aren't going to work out, when they come true, you're going to say, well, I knew it. I knew it wasn't going to happen. Knew that that was going to fall apart. Knew that that wasn't going to work out. And it renews the sense of the ego feeling like we're in control of something, even if it's bad control. So the whole point here is to boss up, to give your head a shake, to understand where the dark ego programming is trying to keep you in a state of paralysis, and therefore tap into the positive qualities of both Pisces energy. Again, endings and closures, removing, shifting those particular heavier emotions into something better, and the Plutonian energy that wants you to boss up, wants you to take power and control over your head space, over your heart space, and eventually your actions as well. Now we have the sun shining a very bright light in this Capricorn energy, coming into a sextile, which is a beautiful interaction, with Saturn. So Saturn rules over this Capricorn energy. And again, Saturn is currently in Pisces energy. We love Capricorn and Pisces energy working together. First of all, this is going to kind of put the darker parts of the day behind us because we're reframing it in a more positive way. This is putting us in a situation where we're getting a little bit more organized in our inner realm with the favorable thoughts, the favorable emotions. And this is really tapping into a new level of discipline that we all need to have, tapping into a new level of willpower, if you will, in order for us to renew our purpose, to really kind of tap into this new mission, if you will, and to focus on all the things that are working, all the things that are good, all the things that we have the potentiality to now build upon. This is going to give us a little bit of a reality check, not in a harsh way, but definitely getting us more realistic minded, if you will, to orient to new plans, to new strategies, to new goals. We have the ability to be anchored, again, earth energy, anchored into reality, grounded, if you will, while we're sorting through our inner realm with new values, new priorities that, of course, we need to give our undivided attention to if we want to bring them to life. And so this is us kind of piecing together a safe, non-risky way to actually make some changes in our physical realm. Now, granted, it's going to be low, slow, and steady, which most people perceive as stagnancy, which that would be doing yourself a huge disservice because right now, slow and steady is going to win the race. And so it's going to make us kind of a little bit more, I'm going to say, focused on completing smaller tasks that eventually are going to end up to a greater, grander whole and put us in a situation again to kind of be a little bit better with our time, with our energy, with our efforts as we attempt to, again, wrap up the old and start building even in our mind space or emotional space towards the new. The last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in Pisces making a beautiful interaction with Chiron, the wounded healer, who of course is now direct in Aries energy, helping us with this new version of self, helping us to heal, to grow, to repair, to fix any type of issue that is still having the old version of self in power and in control. Now, this is a beautiful interaction because, again, the moon in Pisces washes over us, cleanses us, purifies us of the junk, of the gunk, of the fears, of the doubts, of the insecurities, of the pain, of the trauma, of the wounds of the old version of self. We're putting it behind us. We are reaching new levels of empathy and compassion and forgiveness and understanding, not only in the collective, but in our own individual lives that we can, again, kind of share with the people, with the world around us, and specifically kind of demonstrate towards ourselves as well. And so this is a huge growth. This is a huge empowerment. This is a huge perspective changing situation where we're starting to see our strengths. We're starting to see all of the things that are good, all of the things that are working, all the things that we've been able to accomplish, especially in being able to wrap up particular painful karmic chapters that, again, we are very much eager beavers to leave behind.